If you notice that you have negative view on life, that you have constant anxieties or even panic attacks, you have sleep issues, maybe you have a depressive state, and you have this kind of numbness in your heart, so obviously this is a moment that you need to be attentive to what is going on inside of your emotional world. And today we are going to speak exactly about how to process your emotions and why is it important. The first thing you have to know that living in peace, it's not a destination point. It's not like to do different stuff and so you come to the peaceful. This is a state of living. This is the same as hygiene. You're going to shower every day. You cannot shower or brush your teeth once in a month and feel that everything is fresh and fine. You have to do it constantly so you would feel tidy. And the ecology for the emotional world is the same. It's just our job is to figure out the algorithm, how it's done, and it becomes a habit, so it becomes easy and natural to process. Like have all of this your hygiene procedures, you need time, you have time for that, right? The same, you have to find the time for going within, and everyone around you have to respect this, right? And you have to find your 1 hour to process different stuff for yourself. Like for example, you go for a walk, or you go with a dog outside in the park, or you just meditate or something like that. So it's like time for yourself. It needs to be there, because if you do not clean yourself, you will smell bad. So this is actually the same what's going on with you on emotional level when you do not care about that for a long time, because it stays there. Like some situation happened, like for example yesterday, or on this week, or during the months, or during your life, and it's all clutters in your subconscious, because if you felt some emotion and you ignored it because you thought that if you disconnect from your emotion the situation is done. No, if you felt the painful emotion, it means the situation from the outside impacted you. And so in astrology we call it the moon energy. So you reflected what was going, like moon reflects the sun. You react on something and then you ignore that this is there, but this is still there and it needs to be processed, so it comes out. Because if it sits inside, it has an influence on your decision and on your mindset. It's everything about like how you feel about yourself, about life, how you respect yourself, what you believe you deserve, what kind of energies and people you attract and experiences. Because most of the time ugly experiences we attract exactly because we have this unprocessed stuff inside, and so these people kind of trigger that. They trigger like to make it kind of more like so we feel it, so we can see that it's there and we can process it. So if you want to live in peace and in harmony inside, the important ingredient for this is to process your emotions. Maybe you wonder why some people understand it or understand it better and some people don't understand it at all. It's something like a skill. You know, it's something you need to improve and to learn how it works. Because let's say you just don't know the taste of how it feels to live on the constant basis in a harmonious way. Like I will give you an analogy. When there is a guy who struggles with financial issues and he sits on the couch and watching or playing video games, and you look at that and you kind of don't understand. For example, you run your business or you have several projects, you're very much involved in the career, and you just don't understand this guy because you know that this is such a wonderful process when you get a challenge or you have some idea, you put it into pieces and you accomplish one by one. So when you go through this process, you know how this whole thing feels, like how tasty and yummy the accomplishment of the goal and getting, for example, some financial reward for that. And so when you have this experience, you understand that every time when you put your effort into some big new project, you know that this is hard work will pay off. And the guy who sits on the couch playing video games, he never accomplished anything in life. For example, everything was done by his parents in his childhood and so on. So this person doesn't know the taste of it. And so that's why the person does not know the algorithm of like doing, accomplishing, and enjoying the process. And so some people understand inner world processes and accomplishments and taste of that. And some people understand the outer world. So right now, today, we are talking about how to understand what is going on in our inner world and how to process those things which already stuck in our subconscious and poison our view of life. If you're here, you probably struggle with anxieties. And what exactly is that? For example, anxiety is a feeling like something kind of a worry or fear that something is going to happen which will hurt us. And again, we take that guy who plays video games on the couch. He can have anxiety when every time he has message on the phone, because usually it's something from the bank which says that you have debts or you have to pay something and he doesn't have money or something like this. What would you say to him? You would say like, come on, take your ass off the couch and go solve your problems. Go find a way to earn money and pay your bills and pay your debts. Like, solve it. So, because it will never change until you start to solve it. The same when we have the baggage connected to unprocessed and not solved situation on the inner level. What does it mean? So for example, you had an argument with someone at work and you didn't protect your boundaries. So it's like a small situation. Or maybe you are in an abusive relationship. Or maybe your parents are very dominating people. And so every time when something like this happened to you and you do not process what, like the uncomfortable feelings which came after the interaction with these people, so you didn't do anything, every next time when you have the possibility to meet them or to have some contact or have the message from them, you may feel anxiety, because anxious state, it's about like, it's a worry that again something uncomfortable like it was before can happen with me. And when you are not processing a lot, so everything can be the reason of anxiety. And anxiety goes away exactly when we solved the problem. Because the next time when we have the possibility to face something similar, we are not afraid of it because we already know how to do it. So what would you recommend for someone who wants to eat a big cake? You would say you take a spoon, you eat first small piece and then piece by piece. So this is your job, to go from the small thing for the bigger. Because our psyche has something like a capacity to overcoming stuff. It's the same like we have physical strength. If the person only starts any physical activity, it's important to do just a small, for example, run for several kilometers or miles for the first time, and then just make it more, so the body would not just die in pain. So it's the same with you in the processing emotions. Do not start from the huge big thing, because you have to just used to the algorithm, how it happens, how it feels like, what is going on inside, what it gives to you. And so you have more inner strength to digest the bigger pieces. And now we are coming to the part where we can talk about exactly the practical part of processing emotions. Find for yourself some, I don't know, at least 20-30 minutes in peace with yourself, without doing anything else except what we will talk right now. And so your job is to think about, for example, yesterday, if you are watching it in the first part of the day today, or if you are watching it in the evening, look at the day today. So your job is to, in your mind, in your head, part by part, just remember how the day happened. So it's like, I woke up, then I went in the shower, I had a conversation with my spouse. For example, we had some argument, and then we didn't talk. I left to the work, or I forgot to do this or that. Like, you know, just go through different moments of your current day. And so when you are coming to some moments, for example, the argument with the spouse in the morning, or maybe after work you met with friends and you have something uncomfortable in conversation with the people. You feel something was wrong that evening, was not, it didn't taste good. something like that. So your job is to go in your head through all of the situations which was going yesterday or today, and you will feel inside of your heart, you will feel inside of you the moment when some situation will be feeling not okay. And so you take this situation, let's say it's a conversation with someone, maybe it's a meeting with friends, and one of your friends reacted with jealousy when you said about, for example, your success at work. It's a small, simple situation, I understand, because obviously you have a big baggage, a lot of stuff to process, but now you will have small situations, so you will understand, like, you you go through the day and find where exactly you felt not okay. Maybe it's few situations, so you process one by one. And I will tell right now how. Then you can do the same, not exactly in the same day. You can do the same during thinking about your week or your months or your year. I'm not saying like every day you go in the shower. No, I'm telling that, for example, during the last half of a year, you can have several very ugly stories and process exactly that, and you can remember which of them felt really bad. So when we come to this situation when you felt that during the last day you had a conversation with a friend and you felt jealousy from someone else, and so your job right now, how you process, like what exactly the process means, it means you ask yourself why it bothers you even. Or if it hurts so much that you want to cry, please cry. Do not keep it inside, because tears doesn't make you weak. Tears actually allow like to let it go. It's the same when you, for example, have a lot of rage or anger and you scream or you throw something in the wall, or you know when you have very fiery conversation with someone and then you shut the door to let this anger out. So this is the same. When you are feeling some hardship in your heart, when you cry, it all goes out. Not everything, but it's just something which like helps the emotions come out. And it cleans and it helps in astrology. It's this moon energy. It helps our moon energy to go more easy. So it's like the way, like circulation of waters inside of us, it's needed. And so when you experience in the moment when you cry, be attentive to what exactly makes you cry. You cannot avoid this. This is why it happens with you. So you are in this moment of pain and you get the answer, like what exactly is painful. You regret the situation, you regret that you said something, you regret something you did, or maybe you feel abused by someone, or you feel that it was unfair, for example, something. You know, you get this answer in this pain while you're crying. You are getting it. And then when you got the answer, like what is that? Your job is like why it triggers you this much. Why it makes you feel it. And by the way, one thing you can also do when you have this kind of sadness and it comes out, you can do like this. And when you breathe like this, you allow your heart to feel easier. So this is the thing we can do to just allow this to, like, we do not try to keep our heart away from it. We just allow this to go through. Like, it's too much, it's tough, but you are breathing it out. So this is one of the techniques, like in practical. So when you are feeling the pain of the situation which is going on inside of you, you ask yourself why it bothers you that much. What exactly? And when you ask this, you will get you have to listen to your inner processes, because you will understand. For example, it's painful because I thought this girl was my friend and I it's so sad that she cannot be happy for me. Or for example, it's like breakup. it's painful because I'm going to miss a lot of good stuff in this, for example, connection. Or if you were fired from your job, or you had the uncomfortable conversation at your workplace, you're crying and like why it bothers, because maybe for you the way you are seen from the career perspective, it's so important that it indicates that you are a loser because you lost a job, or you were not appreciated in the workplace enough, so you get the understanding why it bothers you. And then you go next, you ask yourself, okay, what I can do about it. Like, let's say it's a friend and she's jealous because of my success. So your job is to make a decision. So this is a moment when you start to protect yourself, because the part of processing emotion requires like you protect yourself from this situation. And so your job is to talk with yourself like your parents didn't do in your childhood, because if they would know how to process their own emotions, they would help you to process your emotions while you were struggling with your childhood situations. They didn't know how to. This is not the moment to blame them. It's just the reason why you also don't have the keys, or you don't understand the algorithm of processing your own stuff, because you just didn't have this experience. So your job is to teach yourself right now. And so one of the parts you have to go through is like you protect yourself from the situation. Like you talk with yourself, like it would be great like that your friend or your parent would talk with you in the moment. And let's say your friend was jealous to you. You can think about it from different perspective. Yes, it's sad. Yes, but maybe it's a moment to come to the point that with this person you're not going to share things like this. Or maybe, am I sure that this person is that real friend? Because it seems like if person loves you, like literally from the heart, they're happy for all of your success, right? And so you talk with yourself in this way, like you look through in the situation and you kind of trying to figure out what to do with this situation. Or you going through breakup, or you were fired from the job, you start to think, okay, so this is my new chapter in life, and it hurts because I was estimating myself through career or through relationship, and now obviously it feels like I'm a loser if I don't have it or lost it. And yes, it's painful, it makes me feel less worthy, or like you are accepting the parts of yourself, you're talking with yourself, you're not humiliating yourself, you're not making yourself even worse. You're an idiot, how could you, like, oh my god, you're always like this. No, you're not doing that to self. You are your best friend in this situation. You are the best support you can provide. And so your job is to figure out how to kind of get the lesson from the situation, how to not make the situation again. Let's say your partner said to you, like, you have never been attentive, you didn't do anything right, or whatever. And so to be objective, it's very important to realize that some of that stuff is manipulation. Some of that stuff is person's projection of what they want from you. And so your job is to understand, like, did you truly did the best for that relationship, or you could do better? So if you understand that you could actually do better, and some of that things person saying are right, so maybe you just have to admit that the choice of this partner was not the one who was invoking in you this feeling of wanting to provide something like that amount of care which that person wanted. Or maybe the career field you didn't perform enough, maybe because it was not exactly what you wanted, because it was what your parents wanted, or you thought it was so cool to have some kind of work like this. And so you process it, you get your analysis of what exactly made those pain inside of you, what makes you feel uncomfortable about yourself. And so you get your decisions, like you have some solutions, and you naturally kind of you feel this feeling of digested. Okay, it's not that bad. It was not that terrible. And every time when you process something, and after going through crying and looking through pain and doing like this, it becomes easier. It just starts to be more clear, and it's not making you feel like an idiot. You're not someone like a victim in the situation. You are coming to the salvation as a mature human. And so when you process this, you start to learn that feeling your emotions, it's not that scary, and that they're actually giving you keys to why something bothers you or why something attracts you. Interesting part about emotions and processing them is that when you are digesting different uncomfortable situations, you stop having this habit of numbing the situation. Because when you numb a lot of inner processes, you also start to be numb to good emotions. And that's why you are living in depressive state, because you always live with a burden in heart, because you're always trying to control so that emotions would not explode. So you're just trying to keep it like a stone. And that's why when people approach you with a heart friendship or kindness or that kind of things, you don't actually feel that easier, because you used to numb it so hard, so strong, so long, that you become more like a robot. And when you live with this, it's very natural to live with a kind of depressive mind, because you don't have this peaceful, natural state. You don't allow it to yourself. And so to allow, you need to process. And if you start to process, your job also to look the truth in the eyes. Don't be afraid, because you're afraid to look the truth in the eyes because you're afraid of your own judgment. But do not judge yourself. Solve this for yourself. Be your own, I would call it loving parent, because this is how it actually happens. But you can see it as a best friend. Okay, and in the next videos I will talk about the inner sovereignty, how to build our inner power, and why do we feel exhausted, and things like that. And if you want your personal consultation, you can go to the link below. In the comment section I'll put a link to the calendar. You can book a session for your personal astro-psychological reading, because I do reading of your astrological chart. It can be Vedic system or Western. I use both. And so we can figure out everything, what is going on inside of you, and we can digest it, we can heal it. Everything is possible. Just support yourself and never humiliate. Okay, see you in the next videos. Bye bye.